Welcome to another video. And for today's topic, we will discuss something that anyone looking for leanness usually like to avoid or tries to get around it, and that is cardio. But first, be sure to subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, or find me anywhere I can be found. So let's dig into it. Cardio sucks, guys. You're dieted down, you're calorie and carb restricted, flat as your middle school crush, weary, dreary, and dumb. Showtime's a few weeks away, whether that be a competition, hot date, wedding, or simply sculpting a beach-ready body by summer. Well, during the dog days of dieting, there's nothing, and I mean nothing, I hate more than cardio. Compared to the shoveling all sorts of shit down your goal and hitting daily PRs during the off-season, you're definitely catabolic and feel borderline dead about now. But wait, isn't weightlifting cardio? Well, we all know weights are cardio, obviously. But to achieve dick skin levels of lean, you might need to add a dedicated cardio session or two. These last few pounds make all the difference, folks. And despite your protests, it's time to bang out some cardio, whether you like it or not. From a man who would rather be pounding PRs instead of counting the clock and calories, here are 6 helpful tips to make cardio suck a whole lot less. Now, as far as activity is concerned, go ahead and pick whichever cardio you like. These tips, I usually stick to the stationary bike or something low impact on the joints. Number 1, listen to long classic rock songs. When I find myself in an extended low intensity steady state or less cardio session, well, nothing's more boring than staring at the timer slowly tick by. 10 more minutes down, try 10 seconds. And it's painful. Literally, it's one of those things like every time you look at the clock, you swear to God it's been like at least half an hour and it's like 30 seconds, maybe a minute, 2 minutes. Well, if you suffer from that same thing that I do, I advocate breaking that bitch up by throwing on some long classic rock songs. And typically, guys, I mean, if you're anything like me, when I start off a cardio session, I'm usually not stoked to do it. I typically feel like a sack of shit knowing I'm going to watch the sun go down on a stationary bike. Although, update, I do live right on the water now in Southern California, so all of my cardio is done on an actual bike, and it's done as the sun's coming up and going down. So if you're into the stationary bike and you're able to do so, I recommend getting a real bike. There's something about having a natural breeze blow through your hair when you're doing cardio. It makes the time go by insanely quickly. But that being said, I still put a boombox in the front basket and blast some classic rock songs. And what else to make the monotony a lot less monotonous? The bonus about classic rock songs is they typically start slower than a slug and play more like a ballad, at least initially. Now, gradually, they and you pick up the pace until there's nothing but blaring guitar solos. For this reason, I find most classic rock songs are also great for high-intensity interval training or HIIT training. Get lost enough in the music, and soon enough you'll find yourself beating out sweat bullets as you shred your air guitar and flabby abs. In fact, I did this just the other day. By the time I found myself finished, I had gone through like 6 songs. And again, these aren't 6 like modern pop songs. These are 6 like 8 to 13 minute blaring guitar solo songs. And really, when you think about it, a cardio session that's just 6 songs, well, that just makes your session a little more exciting. 2, close your eyes. Sounds stupid, right? Stay with me here. There are only so many motivational posters, class sign-up solicitations, and protein powder promos I can stare at a typical gym. Until eventually I find myself so bored I'd rather drop a barbell bench press on my neck than continue for another minute. Sure, there might be some hotties with an eye shot, but you don't want to be that guy who spends his time at the gym breaking a sweat from eye fucking yoga painted pretties rather than actually working out. Plus, there's the whole accidental gym boner issue and jogger pants and whatever. It's no bueno, guys. So find yourself bored entirely out of your brains? Well, just close your eyes. Since there are now multiple guitars soloing in stereo, dissect the sound and construct a beautiful picture show in the back of your eyes. Just be careful not to fall asleep. Now, once I do get over the initial dread of doing cardio, start sweating and singing to a pretend audience, I find myself in a much more relaxed state and feel like I might actually doze off sometimes. Now, if you're on a stationary bike, that might be fine. Treadmill or stair climber or actual bike, probably not so much. Three, and guys, these tips we're getting into, some of them are more just kind of how to pass the time on cardio. You're still doing cardio, but three, this is something I like to do for an extended session of cardio, and that's plan your diet and training. Seeing as you should be serious about being in shape at all times, you should also be tracking your diet and training, to a degree. And that degree is up to you. I find the more serious I take it, obviously the leaner and fitter I become. But sometimes you can back off a bit for the holidays, or if you just want to enjoy life, that's fine too. But just have an idea kind of in the back of your head. Now, for me personally, I practice a 1 meal a day OMAD, intermittent fasting type protocol, and I usually do all my cardio fasted. So for me, there's also no better time than sitting there, my balls slapping my sweat-soaked thunder thighs, than to check the online grocery ads and actually plan my meals out for the week. Now, I'm also on this new kick too, where I'm trying to eat as many protein-packed meats as possible for as cheap as possible. So that makes things a little more interesting. Tonight, well, I'll probably do like 2 pounds of pork loin for $2 and 200 grams of protein. Planning and plugging my meal into MyFitnessPal, it usually takes up a good 20 minutes or so. But then once I do it, I'm done. Now, counting down the days until your well-deserved carb load or much missed weight training, well, map this bitch out too while you're at it. And say goodbye to a serious segment of your drawn-out cardio session. Number 4, clear your mind. Most people call me completely crazy when I tell them that cardio can be meditative. And in fact, actually, this is the way I've been going about it recently. I prefer to refer to this as kind of conducting a mental audit. So during cardio, you have an extended amount of time to yourself. Your body's in motion, your hormones are rolling, and you should feel pretty damn good by now. And for me, since I do my cardio fasted, I also have that insane hyper focus, which makes it perfect to uncover your day's bullshit, bring it to the forefront of your mind, and process what needs to be taken care of. While doing this, also try practicing a degree of mindfulness. Feel the blood pulse through your veins, your skin start to perspire, and your breathing deepen. In a single cardio session, I can usually unpack all sorts of shit that's been on my mind for the last few days. I may even mentally map out my travel or finances for the next few months. Hell, I've even conducted complete friend audits, which for me is cutting negative Nancy's out of your life to make room for more positive people, all in a single cardio session. So whatever's on your mind, now's an opportune time to start to sort all that stuff out. Which brings us to number 5. Assuming you made the cut, catch up with friends. I'll be the first to tell you I can't stand smartphones. If it were legal to run over dipshit pedestrians submerged in their screens rather than tackling traffic, I'd make Darwin proud. Nothing pisses me off more than having these same invalids loiter around the weights area and wasting my precious lifting space to text. Or when I'm on the boardwalk doing my bike rides, the tourists that stand in the middle staring at the sky, and then you have to brake on a sandy surface. Yeah, that doesn't work out, guys. So just FYI, if you've ever gone to California or going to California soon or find yourself in California, when there are 2 lanes of traffic and there's bikers, skateboarders, or hoverboarders on them, cross immediately. Do not stop in the middle and do not stare down at the ground or stare up at the sky. That is an accident waiting to happen. And there have been many that I have almost had in, God, even the past few days. Which brings me back to my point. When my focus shifts to solely pumping pints of blood, I find this a good enough time as any, really, to pull up on my messenger and shoot some shit with some friends. Yes, it's a sad situation. We live in such a digitally augmented reality that we have to resort to communicating through pixels on a screen, but sometimes a quick text, well, it's better than nothing. And usually these conversations revolve around fun stuff, like us planning an exotic trip somewhere or tossing around a new business idea that'll likely go to the graveyard to die, if we're being honest here. So I'll place a check mark in the productive category for this one. Note, I will only pull out my phone if I'm on a stationary bike, stair climber, or elliptical. If you're texting in a squat rack, you're an asshole. People will hate you. And rightfully so. 6, read or write while on the bike. Sure, some of these articles may seem like incoherent ramblings. Some of the videos may seem a little bit disjointed and tangential. Well, that's just who I am. Because you'd be right. But that's because it's off that way. Half my drafts are actually scribed with skunk-smelling pits, burning eyeballs, and salty lips. Tony Robbins calls this making use of the window of opportunity, which is what I use to get things done when I don't have shit else to do. By the time my current cardio session is finally over, I'm usually done with the first draft, and most of the time I completely lose track and go way over and end up getting even more done and burning more fat. Oh darn. Hope I don't burn too much fat or become too lean, said no one ever. So you don't have to necessarily bang out blog articles. You can write about anything that comes to mind. Maybe you just want to get into journaling, which also helps with the mindfulness thing. I prefer a stream of consciousness approach where you really don't think about any particular thing to write. You just kind of allow, in this case, your thumbs to click away on your mobile text editor and then just clean it up all in post. Can't write? Well, read away researching whatever it is you need to know. Gun shopping, travel planning, weightlifting advice, Menshrine updates, subscribing to Jaron Scott videos on YouTube. Really, the idea here is to make use of time where your mind has the ability for it to make use of. So how do you make cardio suck less? Well, there we have it, folks. At least there's 6 ways or 6 things that I do to make cardio suck a whole hell of a lot. There are 6 ways to make cardio suck a whole hell of a lot less. And at some point, you might even find yourself thinking, hey guys, cardio rocks. Now, hopefully you eventually knock out enough sessions that eventually these tips translate to a 6-pack. And actually, now I'm at the point where I've gone through all the cardio sessions. I do have a 6-pack. I'm relatively lean. And to completely counteract my point, when you are lean and you're just trying to maintain it through cardio, and here's a fun little pro tip, actually. When you do diet down to the point where you're ridiculously lean, you have a 6-pack and you're you're just feeling good in general, cardio does begin to suck a whole lot less. Now I'm at the point personally where I'm just really in it for maintenance, and it's not that hard, actually. You don't have to do much maintain. You just have to not get fat or out of shape again. So nowadays, I really, really enjoy my cardio sessions. But that's also, too, because I have my little pink Barbie bike that I ride down the boardwalk. So that could be making me just a little bit biased here. But that should do it for this video, guys. If you have any non-sucky cardio tips, these are my 6, but I'm sure there's plenty of tricks out there. Be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel. Ring that little notification bell so you can receive updates when I drop new content, and follow me anywhere I can be found. Thank you for stopping by.